I actually got a message from a brother that I kind of know. Here is the message that was sent by his wife's friend, who is a female. Okay, so here is how it goes. You need to answer now. It's very important. Don't do the deed, meaning do not consummate the marriage. See, this period is getting to no period. Should married couples have such single friends? What do you guys make it out?
So it's not whether she is single or whether she is divorced. It's women in general. That's the issue here.
Imagine if the wife done what many women do of take your friend's wife. Imagine she was like, you know what, for real, I'm going to make him wait. Oh my God.
It's like having a devil win.
This is how Myrons are born. This is how red pill movements are born, bro.
I don't think you should have anyone involved in your marriage, regardless of who it is, whether it's your friend, your mum, your dad, your brother, your cousin. I don't think anyone should have an opinion on your marriage because it's your marriage. It's no one else's marriage. It's your marriage.
Yeah.
And secondly, it is a problem amongst the women. Muslim women do talk to their friends about personal issues that they shouldn't. It doesn't matter who it is, whether it's your best friend, your mum, your dad, psychologist, it doesn't matter. Take it with a pinch of salt because that person is not in your shoes. Only you know your situation.
If your friends are going to emotionally blackmail you by saying that, if you don't tell us this, that, we're not going to be friends with you, then you just with the wrong friends to begin with.
As a man, I wouldn't want to play tug of war with my wife, going back and forth. Her friends are secretly telling her things in her ear. I'm going to feel like I'm playing tug of war.
Sex to a man is love.
Yes.
When you're taking away that love, you're taking away an integral part of that relationship.
Yeah.
Guaranteed that advice from her friend was going through her mind when that was meant to be one of the most blessed, sacred, pure times that she was ever meant to experience in her whole life.
Yeah, if somebody told him, don't give love to your missus.
Bro, there'll be World War II.
There would be World War II.
IslamNet is raising funds to establish a masjid and community center in Norway, and they urgently need your support. This donation will be a sadaqah jariyah for you, because every person that comes a step closer to Allah through your donation, you will inshallah be reaping the reward. Click the link and donate what you can. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters and dear friends. Hope you guys are well, inshallah. Welcome to another episode of the Bitter Truth Show. Before I start, I want to praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most merciful, the most just. All praises, glory and gratitude belong to Him. And I want to thank Brother Anas, may Allah bless him, and also the other team members, Brother Abdul Kareem, who's doing the work, Brother Jabi. And also I want to thank the co-producer, which is my wife, who helps me. We have very severe debates at home, but we come to conclusions and agree to disagree. Sometimes I punch, I'm joking. That's a joke, of course. Anyways, so bitter buzzers. There's 4 bitter buzzers. If any of you guys disagree with anyone else, you have 1.5 minutes without being interrupted to speak. Other than that, just to address a couple of people who might be a bit jahid, who are like, oh, look at these people who are free mixing, which we have to touch with sadly, yeah? Our honourable sisters who are here, who are at the back, our honourable brothers are here, who practice, who fear Allah. You are slandering by accusing us with your jahil, no knowledge, that we are here free mixing. Fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are here for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and for that purpose only, inshallah. And that's it. Today's topic is very, very interesting because I actually got a message from a brother that I kind of know. He's newly married. It's his first night with his wife. And here is the message that was sent by his wife's friend, who is a female, warning her to not have intimacy with his own wife. I'm going to read it out for you guys. Yeah? You guys ready? This is how it goes. Okay.
What's the topic of that?
The topic is, should married couples have single friends?
Okay.
That's the topic, yeah? And I'm going to read it as much as I can, yeah, and give some context. Okay, so here is how it goes. Okay, I'm calling you. This is what she's saying, yeah? And she goes, I can't speak as I am in the Uber. Don't want him to understand, Lord. Okay. And then she goes, laughing. And then she mentions to her, now, you need to answer now. It's very important. Don't do the deed, meaning do not consummate the marriage. Yeah? Okay. Then she goes, read above, like super important. So now this sister who's married to this brother is saying, excuse me? Like question mark, like what's going on? Then she goes, see, this period is getting to no period. So she's saying this period is against no period, yes? Honestly, sis, everything they said to me made sense. I will explain to you properly via a call, inshallah. The guy basically, if you make it easy now, he won't see you as someone who is worthy for him. If that makes sense, He needs to earn your worthiness. So this is a married woman who has been married, and her friend is telling her, do not, consummate the marriage. And she goes, are you serious? With a laughing emoji. Yeah. She goes, absolutely. Wallahi, they woke me up. We don't know who they are, by the way. Is it the Illuminati? Is it aliens? We don't know who they are. Yeah. I will explain to you properly via a call. Okay, no, I've seen that bit. Oh, sorry. And then she goes, absolutely. Wallahi, they woke me up. And she goes, I see your point. I think maybe not to be awkward, but I won't refuse my husband. It's his haqq. May Allah bless the wife. She's got some common sense. Yeah. Then the friend goes, mentions her name and goes, especially was like you're basically thinking, okay, that doesn't make sense. Sorry. Yeah. Try postpone it as much as possible to get to know him better. They both said even till now, they don't think their husbands well. You only get to know them well when a situation happens, when you need them, etc. And whether they step in or out at that moment, so they stress how one should put their feelings aside and wait for the right moment. Also, you never know, at any moment, there's a possibility of you conceiving. So you need to be ready for it. Then the wife goes, I'll call you tomorrow and properly talk about it. Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, but we have to give context. Definitely, inshallah. So much going on. Now, this is what she says, yeah? I know it's a difficult thing, but you really should think about it. Honestly, you're still at the beginning stage and you don't want him to say, khalas, I finally have her fully. You would like that to happen in the future, no? Like near to the walima, unless you absolutely have no desire to having a walima. Now, this is what the wife says. It says, calm down, my love. My husband is super comforting and reasonable. I don't have any reason to be oppressive to him. Trust me, it's all good. Now, the message continues on and on and on. And she's saying, don't consummate the marriage for 3 months, 4 months, whatever it is, yeah? Now, I don't know what you guys make it to be, yeah? Okay, but the question that needs to be asked is the following. Should married couples have such single friends? Is this, and by the way, I want to make some disclaimers. Please, let's try not to backbite the sister, whoever it is that's doing this. It might be from genuine concern. It might not be. It might be jealousy, whatever it may be. What do you guys make it out from a sister's perspective that another sister warning another sister who just got married? Is this jealousy? Is this a genuine concern? And the brother said to me very clearly and directly, he paid £9,000 worth of gold. He's gone to the father and spoken. He's done a nikah. He's paid mahr, cash, and he's doing a walima. But this sister is warning her friend as if she's in a haram relationship. What do you guys make it out? Sister, let's start with sisters. Like, is this a jealous friend? What is this? Please, I want to know.
I think to start off, we need to go back to understanding how important it is to have a circle and friendship around us that is for us. And Islamically and even psychologically, it really does say and talk about how important it is to vet and filter your friends so that whether they're single or not, they are there where you can turn to or they can turn to you in the best way forward, especially when it comes to you seeking for their advice or guidance and things like that. They are actually fit for it. And this seems to be where I would not even give this person attention to respond so much if that was actually done to me, because I would know that that's not necessarily for my benefit. But a lot of people are taken away by their friends and they do listen and they are enabled. So it really does show a character of somebody who has a friend like that and keeps it and also seeks guidance from it. And I personally wouldn't give attention to someone like that, especially on my wedding night.
Okay, interesting. Sisters, sister.
Assalamu alaikum. Just before I start, just a little bit of introduction about myself. My name is Mahnur. I'm a mum to 2 under 2, alhamdulillah. I'm currently studying a BSc in psychology. I'm in my 3rd year. I do part-time teaching, teaching the Arabic language, Qur'an, and Islamic studies to girls ages 7 to 18. I also conduct a weekly class on Zoom where I mentor and discuss different topics surrounding mental health from a secular Islamic perspective at Al-Bir Institute. To answer your question, I think there has to be boundaries with friends. They need to know that whatever goes on between you and your husband is none of their business, to be honest. It's your personal life. The problem is that sometimes the people that we should be most close to and most open to, our own spouses, we don't share with them openly, but we're willing to take advice from people around us, whether they be friends or family. As a previous episode mentioned as well, that husband and wife should try and have a good mutual understanding, and everything is reciprocal. So you can't really predict what's going to happen on your wedding night, what's not going to happen. It really depends on how things work out. And if it works out for you, alhamdulillah. And if it doesn't, then, there's plenty of time in life and you can always go on with things.
Okay, well, Sister Mahnur. Yeah, but you've got a friend here now who's basically, now you need to think about it, Islamically, they are married. This brother, look, this sounds crazy to me, that this man has given Mahr £9,000 of gold. Bro, best believe that guy's serious. £9,000 of gold, are you mad? And given, I think, £3,000 or £5,000 in cash. He's gone to the father, he's done a nikah. Bro, he's going to buy it all legit. And then you've got this friend who is coming now and saying, no, you should wait, cause and this and that. Then, to me, this is toxic femininity. This is, to me, ajib. It's very strange to me. So, reading that, do you think, is there some kind of jealousy involved? Because I personally believe, it's a theory, I might be wrong, I'm offered to be corrected. I think this comes more from the sister side, that I would personally say, should married women have single friends? Because from our circle, I don't think any brother can come. I mean, I've been friends with Zishan, may Allah bless him, for a long time. He would never see me come in and say, bro, by the way, how's things, like, you can have this discussion, how's it going, like, wife, married, like, etc. But never crossing the line of, bro, make sure you don't do this. Or he messaged me and goes, bro, you newly got married. So these don't happen with men. So do you think this is a sister's issue where there's jealousy involved? Because I can see, forgive me, I was just looking, I saw 1, 2, 3, 4 heads nearly nod. So there's a reason it's nodding. Please, can you tell us, sisters? Because it seems like we're missing something. As men, the bitter truth, sure, wallahi, I want to understand the opposite gender better. So please tell us why you're all nodding your heads, because it's a phenomenon.
To begin with, that's not even a friend. That right there is a woman who's delusional. She's more of an enemy to her than she is to a friend. And I think this is why women have to be so careful about who they class as friends. And just because a friendship has lasted less than 10 years, you're now in your 12th or 14th year, it doesn't mean it's supposed to last a lifetime. Sometimes people, you're supposed to let go of them because they fulfill their purpose in life. When a person becomes toxic and, subhanAllah, this sister clearly knows the person isn't right, she's toxic, she's obviously giving her the wrong advice. It's a sign you got to let that person go. And I think a lot of women, when they are friends for so long, they almost feel like, I now have authority over my friend, therefore she must do as I say. And when that doesn't happen, they will manipulate her. They will call her any name that they possibly can to get her to almost become submissive and fall into her trap. But yeah, no, to answer your question, that's 100% jealousy right there.
Yeah, I agree with Sister Ira there. I think as women, we do sometimes, unfortunately, like a bit of drama and can go on that as well. I think it's just important that we try to keep our married lives as private as possible. And if need be to get help, go get professional help, go to elders in the family, not friends who haven't even experienced. It's almost like, me and Azra, we were talking about this the other day, but if I had, let's say, some sort of disease, would I go to someone who's not a doctor to ask for medical advice? So similarly, if you're not married, if your friend is not married, there's no point of seeking advice from that. And if they genuinely have concern, then there's always a way to go around it. So they would come from a place of, genuine concern. And you can tell by a person's body language and how they're communicating is that they're really concerned for you. And then obviously you can, take that in consideration then.
I'll make a point. Just to play the devil's advocate, I agree with everything you guys are saying. I think with this particular sister, from the text message, there was a part that you said, she said they were right. So I get the impression that sister's most probably divorced and she's had a really bad marriage and whatever it is. So she's using her own personal negative experience and projecting it onto that sister. As opposed to, from my perspective, I don't think it's jealousy might not be the root of it. It might be just someone who's had a very negative experience and is just trying to warn her friend, not to say that's an appropriate advice at all, because ultimately what her advice should be is positive and being affirmative and make dua, inshallah, do what's right and that kind of thing. So generally the advice I would say is completely wrong. And the married sister should now realize, like the other sister said, there's a time and a place where certain friends you hold on to. So if you're still single, I guess there's things that you can relate to and that friendship is valuable. But if you're now married and your friend is either divorced and you as an individual know, you know what, she's been through a really bad marriage, I want to avoid
anything because I might be influenced by that, or just simply because I
would never thought a sister would buzz another sister, mashallah. Okay.
or simply because it could be that she's not married now, so she won't really add any value to your relationship, so therefore you wouldn't really give her the airtime for any advice on marriage. But I thought I'd just come from that angle. By the text message, it seems like someone that's been through a bad patch and is just projecting.
That's interesting. Very balanced. May Allah bless you. Sister, I already pressed it for 1.5 minutes.
Okay, I respect everything that you've said. However, there's something that we're doing here. We are categorizing all single women into one and divorced women also into that. Just because she is single does not mean she's a bad friend. I, for one, am a divorcee and I'm also single, but I, wallahi, will never give any bad advice to any sister. And I've been through my fair share of trauma, but I've healed from that trauma, and I will make sure to do everything I can that sister does not do anything that I did wrong or that I learned from that. So it's not whether she is single or whether she is divorced, it's women in general. That's the issue here. I think women crave that drama. They love that authority and power. And of course, social media has a massive role to play in this. But it does not, I'm sorry, nobody can ever say that it's single women, therefore you cannot have single women friends. Because my friend, when I was married, she was single and she so many times saved my marriage. It still broke. So that's a different story. But she saved my marriage from breaking simply because she was single.
Yeah.
So you might not have the knowledge, but it comes down to how wise you are, how much of the Sunnah and the Qur'an that you know, how much of good principle and values you are, and honestly, like how clean your heart is. Because you might not have experience, but if you can like mentally put yourself in that position and be like, okay, what would I do here? That's really saying something about a person, and that's something that a quality we don't see in women these days.
Am I allowed to respond?
Yeah, please. By the way, you have a. We're gonna go to. You have the buzzers, by the way. So you can use it one time. So if you ever, Baba, go on, sister. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure what we're disagreeing on, because what I'm saying is regarding the single sister
about divorce, basically.
Yeah,
because he's categorized
divorce.
You know, there's a problem with you, especially as women. And I also second.
But in the context of that sister and her toll,
but we don't know that she's divorced.
We don't know. Yeah,
because that was a speculation.
There was something there that she said.
We speculated that she's now she's divorced. She's gone through trauma. She's not healed. We made some very negative remarks about that.
Yeah. And if they're divorced, they have no rights to speak or say. And you have to be in a long-term marriage which is successful. Which I know a lot of long-term marriages are not actually that fulfilled, because I actually coach them. So at the end of the day, we have to be very careful when we're trying to judge divorcees. And it's not always the woman's fault at the end of the day.
Yeah. But if you were divorced and you went through a really bad trauma.
I am in that situation, and I was in that situation. And I've studied for the last 7 years to actually heal and help others and also educate myself.
Okay.
So there's a difference.
Yes, I'm not saying that divorcees shouldn't give advice.
No, but
saying...
No, it's... I'm trying to see the balance on both your sides. Yeah. Okay, you have valid points. We cannot come and say, for example, that divorced sisters for some reason they have this like lurgy or whatever it might be. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. Whatever you like, whoa, like.
It always happens with the women though, not
anyway,
the men.
No, it's not there. It's not the level. You know, in high school they do that. Yeah. So the thing is, like, you run away from it, it's the lurgy monster. Yeah. So the thing is is that that's not the case. Alhamdulillah, like a lot of divorced sisters, alhamdulillah, who, like you guys said, you healed, etc. But she has a point in the context of, you talked about being healed. Well and good. But sometimes before that process, sometimes there can be bitterness, you can be hurt. Absolutely. And by the way, this can be with men as well. There can be a man. And by the way, the red pill movement, there's a movement called MGTOW. Men going their own way. That's what it's called, the MGTOW. Okay. And these are toxic men who have had bad experiences and are like, we're warning. And this is the reason why they come with this. I've even bought a book actually from Myron. It's called actually Why Women Deserve Less. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Myron, this book actually, I don't agree with everything he says. He said a lot of valid points, but his book is called Why Women Deserve Less. So a lot of the time, it's maybe certain traumas they may have triggered this. There's a lot of facts in the book, not totally, but the point is she wrong for saying that maybe the sister has had a bad divorce, and she is projecting?
Yeah, but it could also be maybe she's had a very bad childhood. Maybe it's got nothing to do with the divorce, but we've speculated, we've jumped the gun here, and that's what I'm saying. Cannot do that.
No, I said that because she said something. If I heard it wrong,
she said they
they warned me and they were right.
Yeah.
Something along
But
that.
we don't know. As Ali said, it could be aliens. It
Okay,
could be
okay.
Illuminati. We don't know.
Okay,
who
it's definitely,
they are.
not aliens. But the thing is that
That means it could be Illuminati.
it can be, yes, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna just get back on the topic. Yeah, I'm gonna go through the message. If I'm not mistaken, this might no, myself. I'm gonna read it myself. I'm gonna see if it's a married couples. I'm gonna see if this comes from married couples, because if I'm not mistaken, she refers to these people who are married, who are married, and they are the ones who are warning her that their husbands have changed or something like that. So maybe it's not from a divorcee, but it's from a married sisters who are telling this sister to tell her friend that when we gave intimacy early on, this is what happened, which is absolutely nonsense. But anyway, the men have been quiet, brothers.
Bro, it doesn't matter if she's married, divorced, or whatever. It's
Yeah,
just the
thank you.
principle. I don't know why we're trying to categorize it like maybe she's married, maybe she's not. Who cares? It doesn't matter. But it's bad advice.
Yeah.
Bad advice is bad advice. Whether she's married or not, it doesn't matter. First and foremost, I felt like everyone should be changing their energy and actually thinking how bad this is for the brother. No one's actually thought about this brother. Now, imagine this brother. I think I've done this last time. This guy, let's just say he's in London, right? Where the rates of living are sky high and have rocketed it up, right? And now you try to say you can't do anything illegal to make money, mashallah, because we're on a halal straight path. So now these are things we got to consider. I do a lot of youth work and a lot of brothers get called simps. Have you seen that video? That really annoyed me, by the way. Get called simps for not being able to provide. So brothers left the road life, which is very easy for him to do. For example, let's say he goes and works a halal job. He saved up all that money when he didn't really necessarily have to. Yeah, but to protect himself from haram. He's gone out of his way to go and meet his current wife's family and father. Not necessarily an easy process for anyone that's been married. It's not really easy, is it? It's very challenging, especially if you've got a father that's going to grill you and ask you about your record and where you've come from and about your childhood. It might be quite triggering. He's gone through all of these barriers. Green light, green light, green light. He might have had a few red lights here and there. Green light, green light. He's finally now paid down, how much is it? 9K worth of gold.
12K.
Yeah?
£12,000.
Yeah. Quick maths. Yeah? Quick maths, brother.
Man.
And then what? 4 grand in cash. Okay. And then he done the walima. Okay. And this brother's here and his lovely wife is there. And then she's got a friend that's messaging these types of advice here. This is crazy. Now, I know people are probably thinking, well, what's the point? The point is, imagine if the wife done what many women do and men do, of take your friend's advice. Imagine she was like, you know what, for real, I'm going to make him wait. Oh my God.
It's like having a devil win.
This is how, like you said, this is how Myrons are born. This is how, red pill movements are born, bro. People keep saying, you just need to be your own person and be a role model and not let life change you. Life can change you. I'm gonna be real. If I went through that experience, so I saved up 9 bags or whatever in the same scenario as that brother, and then my wife was refusing to consummate the marriage with me, this might just trigger something. And I'm just gonna say, do you know what? This is why a lot of brothers do this. I'm never getting married again. If I do find a woman, I'm not gonna treat her like I treated this girl like a princess. I'm not gonna bother. I'm not gonna go and speak to her Hawani. I'm not saying I'm gonna do this, by the way. But it's a thought that can easily slip into the mind. No human likes hardship. No one likes hardship. So now it's like he's thinking, well, I went and done it the right way and it never worked out. So I might as well do it the wrong way and actually get something out of it. So my point here was basically poor brother. And secondly, his poor brother. And secondly, just, bro, I have friends that I will not take advice from with anything in my life. And I've got friends that I will take advice from, whether they're married or not. Like the sister said, bad advice is bad advice. So clearly this advice is bad. I don't think it stems down to the title of this podcast. Should married people or should married women have single friends? You can have as much single friends as you want. I don't think they should be able to sidetrack you from fulfilling your rights as a woman.
That's very balanced. Yep.
I personally think it's a question as well. Although I personally think that, yes, people can, whether it's a man or a woman, you can have single friends. That's absolutely fine. You're allowed to have friends. You can't tell your wife, well, you can't have friends. I know people have experienced that with their parents. They've said, oh, well, my mum, you know, my dad said that my mum can't have any friends and she can't go out with so-and-so. Who are you going to talk to if you don't have friends other than your husband? You can't talk to your husband about everything. So you got to have
You
friends.
can have friends.
You can have
but
friends.
it's not
but
bad
this
friends.
is my question. This is my question. Of course, good friends, but this is my question. And a statement at the same time. I don't think you should have anyone involved in your marriage, regardless of who it is, whether it's your friend, your mum, your dad, your brother, your cousin. I don't think anyone should have an opinion on your marriage because it's your marriage. It's no one else's marriage. It's your marriage.
Yeah.
So if I, you know, inshallah, I get married next year. I want to get married next year.
Sure.
My missus, she was Catholic before she became Muslim, so we got engaged. Right now, we're not ready to get married, yeah. But next year,
You mean you've done in nikah but not the walima?
what does that mean?
You
Beg
mean
your
like
pardon.
you've done Islamic marriage?
Not yet.
Oh, okay. You can,
So
but is she a Muslim or not?
She is Muslim.
Oh, alhamdulillah, even if she's a Christian, Ahlul Kitab, you can marry from them.
Yeah.
So you can, but do you nikah, bro? Let me, I can't as well. SubhanAllah.
You hear that, yeah?
You invite us.
hear that?
Yeah, you can marry Ahlul Kitab, bro. Like they can't, but you can. Yeah. Oh, you're Muslim, alhamdulillah, bro. Do you nikah?
Of course, yeah, I'm Muslim. Yeah.
No, I didn't see.
Oh.
Yeah, I know she's Muslim too. Yeah. No, I'm saying if you could have. Yeah. Anyway, the nikah, I can arrange it. No wrong thing.
Perfect. I do
I'm the
appreciate
witness,
that. Thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, no, I don't think, you know, going on my point, married, whatnot, and someone comes up to me and says, Mick, you know what? You know, I don't think you should do this. I don't think you should do that. I'm just going to ignore you, bro. Because at the end of the day, you may mean well, but it's my marriage. You don't know what goes on behind closed doors. You don't know what we talk about. You don't know the troubles and stuff that we've gone through together, like in recent years, whatever it is.
Yes.
And you've come to me and said, oh, Mick, you know, I don't think you should do this. How do you know?
True, but
don't know.
Michael, do men do that? Let's be honest
Men-
with ourselves.
Yes.
Do men?
Yes.
I have to disagree.
I
think
have sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, no,
brother.
it's okay.
I have personal experience with people not coming up to me, but watching brothers behind closed doors, having like a snaky sort of like view on things. I thought, or looking at a
With
brother's
what intentions?
bad intentions.
Like
bro.
in what we're talking about here? We're talking about to break up your relationship. Because are you talking about? As
It may not
Muslim
be.
or Muslim?
It may not be to break up non-Muslim.
Okay, yeah,
I
that's
come
all
from that.
different.
I come from that
Yeah, I hear you.
sort of background.
Similar in Jahiliyyah, but the dynamics are different. As a imagine the Muslim circles, yeah. Do we get brothers? Like, I'll be honest, I don't ever remember going to any of my friends and like, yeah, listen, you know, if your wife that, we don't go into that. But I feel as if that's what they were nodding. They were all nodding.
Yeah.
Nah. Actually, no, you're right. No, okay, fine.
Because
You're
no
right.
Muslim
No,
circle,
you're right.
I know how
You're right. No, you're right.
It's dirty, yeah. Trust me.
I'm not, I
Yeah.
think the reason sorry to cut you off. I think the reason you won't find that among Muslims is because, you know, the ladies they have modesty, they cover up and whatnot. A lot of the men they can't, you know, they have nothing to
Bro,
look at. They have
I
nothing to look forward to.
I feel embarrassed as a man
To talk about
to
it.
talk about your wife, bro. Do you know how
course.
disrespectful that is?
Why are you thinking about it? Why is she in it?
Bro, with us, there'll be a fight. There'll be killing. There's people that die.
course.
Yeah. There's not a, come on, bro, trust me. Yeah, man. Are you mad, bro?
No. Bro, I'm talking about like, this sister done it in the term of which most Muslims do. I'm just giving you advice, inshallah. It's not nice advice, but I'm just saying, any brothers here, I don't feel like neither of us would go to one another and say, Aki, look, this is what you got to do in your marriage. I don't know about killing them, but it's really rude, isn't it? It's just, what's the word? It's like, it's just,
No, what I mean is, if somebody has the audacity to come to me and start saying, listen, like in a certain way, I would say firstly, why are you crossing your boundaries? Now, you need to understand, bro, there's two ways that can go, yeah? Bro, please don't talk about wife again. And he's going to say, but why this? And I said, bro, I just ask you nicely. No, but you talk to me like that. Yeah, I'm talking to you that. It can escalate with men, bro. Bro, it can turn from something like this to drive-bys. Nobody should do it, but I'm just saying.
All right, going back to the point
where
here.
do you live? This ain't top where, you know, bro.
He lives in South Finland.
It's always when I'm here as well. Because when I'm not here, you
No,
don't
he
talk
does
like
that. He
this.
does
Oh,
it here, but he does that a lot. He loves it. He loves it.
Bad for you.
Okay, all right, cool.
He does.
You got, you got your sidekick to back you. Go on.
All right. So the thing is, first and foremost, it's very important for us to understand that the Prophet ﷺ said to the nearest meaning that we should seek religious knowledge. Everybody should be armed with the basics of Islam, should be armed with the basics of marriage. There are countries like Indonesia that actually make you do a course before you get married.
MashaAllah.
Yeah. So over here, come on, G. So over here, it's very important that a person that's getting married, you are going, just like when you're at work, there's always going to be people giving you differences, different views, different opinions, wrong opinions, good opinions. You need to be armed with the absolute basics before jumping into a relationship in which you are now responsible for another adult, for another person. Yeah. And your actions can affect that person for the rest of their lives. So it's incredibly important that you know that if you're getting bad advice, that firstly, you're able to discern if that's good or bad advice. And number two, you seek shura. And shura is something that's taught to us in the Qur'an, which is you don't just ask one person. Yeah, you ask a few people and they need to have certain criteria as well. Number one, they need to know about what you're talking about. For example, if you're talking about marriage, if they've got maybe some ilm of psychology or counseling or whatnot, they're good. And they need to have a basic understanding of the religion. That's preferable. Otherwise, things can go here and there. So they need to have some fear of Allah. Secondly, having a single friend is like saying, can a teacher ask advice from somebody that's not a teacher? Of course they can. Is that advice going to be informed? Is it going to be valid? It depends what you're asking for. Are you asking from a psychological point of view or something? If you're just asking someone who's a jahil for advice, then you're an idiot, frankly. Yeah, you shouldn't be asking a jahil. Sorry, I looked at you, Adil, when I said idiot.
It's okay.
So in that sort of sense, I mean, you should have sense yourself as well, and you shouldn't really be seeking advice from people that don't really know. But having a single friend, one thing I would say that somebody actually accused me of this as well. Anytime I gave advice, that person was saying, "Oh, you're single. Oh, you don't know." But you don't have to be a drummer to know what a drum kit is. Yeah, you can sometimes give an out of the box view and non-biased view that people in marriage or people that institutionalize, they would be thinking in a certain way, but you being a single person can see things from a different angle, and it's up to that person to discern if that advice is useful, is creative, or is it destructive for me.
Okay, it doesn't sound like that sister even asked for advice. It sounded like this is what I'm saying. What I don't want to ask you, do you work a lot in the Muslim community? Because it comes across like you do.
That's sadly, yes.
All right, both of you, yeah, you lot all do it. Why do Muslims, I'm talking like I'm not Muslim, but I'm just not in that world, feel it's so obligatory just to give advice that wasn't asked for?
Because the deen is the seer, brother.
Bro, sometimes shut up. Sometimes shut up.
Maybe
Sometimes, not all the time, have to ram your advice down people. Sometimes shut up.
That's actually a good point, Shakil. No, that's a good point, because sometimes it's like the advice that is in marriage books and that's given to men. Yeah, and the advice is that when your wife or a woman like your mother or sister is talking to you, sometimes they're not really looking for advice. Yeah, they just want to talk. They just want to get it out, and they're not looking for logical. Now, understandably, men are very logical. We're very kind of systematic. Women tend to be emotional. They don't tend to be very rational and methodical like men. So sometimes they just
might be on your face.
No. This is standard.
This is science.
Yeah, it's pretty standard stuff. Yeah. So the thing over here, I lost my train of thought.
I'm so sorry.
Thanks a lot. Yeah. So it's not like giving advice. Sometimes doesn't necessarily have to be telling that person what to do. It could just be listening. And it could just be nodding along and saying, you know what, you've had a very hard day and this and that. You know what, should we do this or should we do that? Like cognitive behavioral therapy and stuff like that is sometimes getting the person to just talk and just maneuvering the person around what they're going through so they can reach a solution by themselves. And a sensible Muslim brother, if he's speaking to another Muslim brother, he should know how you are, and then he should know a bit about you, and then mold that advice around your temperament. If he's just telling you and you don't like being told what to do, and he's just telling you, yeah, you don't like being told what to do, yeah, don't do this and don't do that, that brother is not very kind of clued on. He needs to do it in a more catered way. If he's not able to do that and that brother's really peeing you off, then maybe, find a brother that is more kind of understanding to kind of your energy and stuff.
a lot of people don't know how to vet for that, because I am a cognitive behavioral therapist. I do NLP. I'm doing my master's in neuroscience and psychology of mental health. I have been studying human mind and behavior for the last 7 years nonstop. And at the end of the day, we don't give advice as a professional. We give guidance, like you mentioned. And secondly, it is a problem amongst the women. Muslim women do talk to their friends about personal issues that they shouldn't. That's something I can definitely say. And they also talk about, their marital issues a lot, whether it's their girlfriends, whether it's their sisters and things like that. And I don't think that is actually for their benefit, because they're not getting the right sort of feedback. It is projection a lot of the times. It is from someone's own sort of experience. And that's probably a negative one because I hear it and I see it. And then when someone comes to me, even as a friend or a client, and I'm like, listen, you do not go that way. Or they've come to me after they've taken that advice and they've gone completely the opposite direction of what they entail to. So yeah, you have to be very careful. But unfortunately, there is a problem about, women generally that do talk more than they should, especially about relationships, and they shouldn't.
That's a very good point, and it's good you brought it up. Otherwise, we probably couldn't have brought it up
why I wanted
because
to.
because it's a different topic. But because we've started it, like the brother kind of alluded to as well, the thing is, you know your husband and your husband knows you. So when you will talk about your issue, most often, statistically speaking, and even psychologically speaking, you're going to be putting yourself and bigging yourself up and putting that person down more so. And the thing with that is you're not really giving a complete kind of picture. And this is what they say to teachers, and that's what they say to a sensible mediator as well, always. And please, I cannot emphasize this enough. No matter how bad it sounds, please listen to both sides.
Yes.
Even if it's really bad, it's really terrible, please do not advise them and start telling them to cut it off. Yeah, if a person has not heard both sides and they are telling you to leave that person, you leave that person. Yeah, because that's not what we should be hearing at the moment. We need to be hearing people that will delve deeper and that will, like the Prophet ﷺ came to join, not to break. And sometimes people tend to, you don't know how well the person can communicate. So they might be kind of missing certain facts out. They might be not good at articulating. There might be other issues that person has missed out because it's going to embarrass them. So when you speak to somebody else, again, don't speak to just any old individual. Go to a mediator in which both of you can sit on the table and both of
But the thing is, I understand. But you're talking about a couple going through issues, bro. She's not going through no issues, bro.
Yeah.
You're dealing with someone. I understand.
That's
I understand.
That's the thing.
The
Because
point
they
is,
have a relationship.
no. But what I'm trying to say,
what are you talking about?
no. What I'm talking about is that you're talking about.
Oh, the message. Yeah, we're talking about something else.
No. But the topic I have to bring back.
No, bring it back. Don't say like what we said in the topic is wrong. Say, okay, let's bring it back to the topic.
You shut your mouth.
God sake.
We spoke is the hub. But what I'm saying is this, bro, that what you're saying is for couples who are going through madness, yeah, they just newly bloody married, bro. Bro, that to me is very, very ajib, bro. Like, it's very, very strange that, number one, she didn't ask you. Number two, you, as if your nose, you even know they just got married now. And you message, and imagine how specific you must be. It's like James Bond, bro. It's like, oh, now they go into their hotel. And now you message.
But it's not just the friends that's the problem. It's
Yeah.
also you have to ask that person who is listening and telling them, how does that person know? You have to take accountability.
No, but that's your friend. But
You know that person has invited that friend into that conversation by telling them.
She's way too comfortable. Yeah, you've let your friend get way too comfortable and intimate in the relationship.
because she said this sister was on point. If it was somebody else's wife, it would have been peak, yeah? This sister, she goes, I fear Allah regarding my husband. I'm not going to press him, yeah? At least she's on point. Imagine it was another sister going, you know what? She's emotional, saying, oh my gosh, maybe he's plotting. Can you imagine how you ruined their first night when they're there and she's thinking in the back of her head, oh, is this guy going to use me and just leave me? Or what kind of nonsense is this?
Why is that message even happening
No,
at that
That's what I'm saying.
Ali,
No, but that's the point.
No boundaries. That's why.
There is no boundaries, but the point is that, can you imagine that how psychological, we already have shaitan giving us waswasa, bro. I don't need another human shaitan, yeah? From the human shayateen. Already got waswasa, I'm dealing with this and that. And then you've got somebody else who's supposed to be a friend telling you, oh, be careful to your wife, or you be careful to your husband. Bro, that to me is
Ali,
terrible.
What would happen?
Terrible.
What would happen if somebody told the man, his friend told him, if somebody told him, don't give love to your missus.
Bro, there'll be World War II.
There would be World War II. But
Free.
sex to a man is love.
Yes.
So when you're taking away that love, you're taking away an integral part of that relationship.
Yes.
In fact, and we're going to talk about this on another show, on another episode, hopefully. But sex to a man is something that number one, it's been bastardized. Yeah, it's been bastardized, and
Well, what's that?
it means. Sorry, I looked at you again when I said that, Ali. So.
By the way, those are was it?
Don't beep down.
Was it
legitimate?
Was it? Just a disclaimer.
God's sake.
Me and Dishan have a very good friendship. No, once again, no anybody can have this kind of friendship. Since we're talking about friendship, this is very unique. So we're okay with that. Yeah, carry.
Yeah.
What does the word mean?
Bastardized means
Yeah.
it means when you've turned that word into like a swear word, like a disgusting sort of thing. But the way it is, like, that's a biological imperative to a man. It's one of the strongest forces on the planet, and if it has not been kind of dealt with and answered and done the correct way, it can cause chaos on the planet.
True.
Yeah, and the thing is that this is love to a man. If he is showing his newlywed wife love and affection, and she's saying, no thanks, not gonna do it, frankly, ew, and that sort of stuff, bro, that's mad. To a man,
Bro, that's peak. And that's why in Islam, bro, the mahar, if the marriage is not consummated, he takes the mahar back. Do you get it? So it just shows that, for example, in Islam, the fact that the man has to meet the father, speak to them, get grilled by them, whatever it might be, then mahar, and then wedding, that man Allah's put a man in such a responsibility. And in this things that we need to do, this protocol, it shows how valued Allah has made the Muslim woman, that as a Muslim man, I have to go through all these obstacles, bro. Speak to the dad, then speak to the brother, and then arrange this, and the mahar, and walima. And by the way, you have to announce it. It shouldn't be hidden. We're going to be discussing second wife soon. That's a different topic. But all of this stuff, it just shows how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has valued the Muslim woman to such a degree that the man has to work hard to get her. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And then you've got somebody who has actually done this. I'm going to finish my statement. Who has gone to this level, given mahar, done all of this, and then there is somebody whispering in his wife's ear, oh, don't, Ajib. But let's talk about solutions after this. Why did you press the button?
yeah, just because I felt like.
Oh,
No, I'm joking.
Since I'm the host, can you get out, please?
So the thing is,
Okay, let's be a bit serious because it's very important.
No, we've
Let's
been
talk about
serious.
solutions.
We've been serious.
Yeah, you're going to get kicked out.
No, I can't get kicked out. It's my show. So look, there's one thing that's very important, and I wanted to add this in. It kind of links to the topic, just in case somebody's thinking, look, this is to do with consummation of the marriage. They've just about got married, and that's a big topic in itself. Like, some people might be thinking, are you saying that on the first night marriage has to be consummated and stuff like that? Yeah, it's a different topic, and the thing is, look, that's up to the discretion of both people. That if the marriage has taken place, and the whole day you guys have just been doing just marriage stuff and dealing with guests and stuff like that, not to rush it not to just rush it as an act. And if that's something that both of you can agree upon and say, look, because some people don't know each other very well, like it's an arranged marriage. So if you want to take a day or two to just get to know each other or stuff like that, then that's something you can do as well. But because it was talking about, but wasn't that?
It's important to mention in case
She's not talking about,
But wasn't that on the first night though?
Yes, but that's not the discussion.
No. It's not the discussion.
Bro, 3 months. She's saying the William is a 3 months, make him wait.
Yeah. No. 3 months, that's something else. But what I'm saying is that this is also part of the discussion as well, because we did say that, look, sex is very important, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But yeah, as soon as a person's married, there are certain kind of things that you guys can agree upon. And the 3 months thing is ridiculous. In fact, that message was a parody in itself.
3 hours is ridiculous, bro.
That's how long it took you to read that message, bro.
Yeah, I know.
Can I just add, I'm sure there's a hadith, it's not coming to me exactly in mind, that you should leave married couples alone for 3 days or something like that, where you don't give them that privacy. So if, for example, the person given that advice was following the Islamic principle there, and the person receiving the advice reminded that person to say, look, this is my time, I shouldn't be contacted or something like that. So I think it also goes down to the fundamentals of knowing the boundaries, like one of the sisters said, that, for all married couples, and maybe something that we do need to encourage our young girls to talk about this to their friends approaching marriage, that don't, tell your friends, like,
Do's and the don'ts.
Yeah, like,
let's talk about solutions. Good.
My brother's friends got married recently, and I said, give him space. Islamically, you're meant to give him space and stuff like that. So I think just creating that culture, as opposed to the Jahili culture, which is, oh my God, did you do it the first night? And, that kind of girly relationship, that we actually move away from that and start instilling this in our girls from a young age, that don't discuss these kind of things. Or if your friend's daughter's getting married, or someone's getting married, make sure you give them that space. Don't talk about anything intimacy, and just to change the culture around coming away from the Jahiliyyah.
Tarbiyah, good tarbiyah to our kids. Tarbiyah. We're gonna start wrapping up. So let's go that way, inshallah, Sister Mahnur.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that intimacy and finances is quite an integral part of marriage, and it's also one of the most leading causes of divorces as well, unfortunately. And I think a good way to sum it up is that if your friends are going to emotionally blackmail you by saying that, if you don't tell us this, that, we're not going to be friends with you, then you're just with the wrong friends to begin with. And also, I think friends should understand that, as you said, as everyone said here, like boundaries and friends, and also like family as well. Like when the couple gets married, let them figure it out. Give them space, give them time, and they'll come back to you. And Auntie actually said to me that it's always like when a newly couple gets married, it's like you're figuring out a new thing. It's like a new venture. You don't know. You figure out each other's lifestyles. And also, I think it's also quite detrimental when people put themselves in other people's shoes and think, oh, because that doesn't work for them, it hasn't worked for me, sorry, it's not working for them, so that's wrong, that's like a red flag. But that's not the case, because just, they might have their own understanding. So even like, as we were talking about cooking clean before, if the husband's happy, then fine, it's their marriage or whatever, doesn't matter.
Okay, sorry? Okay, one second. Sister Faye Mark, Sister Ira, and then...
Again, to sum up, I think it's really important that we know how to vet our friends, and we can have long-term friendships, but there's a time and place for everything. And just to reiterate, it's really important that you don't discuss these certain things at certain times. And I also would say it's not just the person that's giving the advice in this particular letter that you read out. I think it's also the person that's allowing it to happen, and opening up those messages in the first place and speaking to that person in a moment where it should be just between you and your husband anyway. So it's both that is wrong in that sense. And I think that we need to be very careful, because I know a lot of people, they'll even come and tell me that, a lot of their personal issues and detailed stuff and what's going on. And that is not allowed. That is not right. But that happens. Obviously, as a professional, it's different. But even as friends, when they're telling me that it shouldn't be done, but it is done and it's continuously done, and it's actually detrimental to you.
So I think the sister summed it up. There's just 3 things I want to say. And the first thing is, regardless of who's giving you the advice, take it with a pinch of salt. It doesn't matter who it is, whether it's your best friend, your mum, your dad, psychologist, it doesn't matter. Take it with a pinch of salt, because that person is not in your shoes. Only you know your situation. The other thing I was going to say is take this as a really good reminder, an opportunity to look at yourself, to take a moment to self-reflect. What kind of friend are you, and what kind of friends have you got in your circle? Because it's not a case of, okay, I'll drop her when I get closer to my marriage or after I'm married, but it's more like, look, your friends can either take you to Jahannam or they could take you to Jannah. So it's really important to look at who it is that is influencing your mind on a daily basis. And to the sisters who feel inclined to always give advice, you don't always have to give advice. Understand the cues when someone wants advice and when somebody just wants a listening ear. And I think it's really important, if your friend is coming to you with issues where you think, okay, maybe this isn't really my place, then don't say anything. Don't just say something for the sake of it, because, it's going to have consequences. Just learn. I think women need to learn to stay quiet. We can talk literally all the time. So learn to stay quiet and know your time and place when it is required for you to speak appropriately.
Exactly. Michael?
Just 2 really quick things. As a man, I wouldn't want to play tug of war with my wife, going back and forth. Her friends are secretly telling her things in her ear. I'm going to feel like I'm playing tug of war, between me and her friend. And I don't even know it. I don't know it at this point. I don't know it.
Yeah.
And I'm playing...
It's not your wife. You don't know.
But I don't know. I don't know what's being told. I'm at work. I'm doing whatever at work. She's at home and she's thinking about these things that she's been told by her friend, and I don't know it. I'm fighting wars that I can't see. I don't know how to battle it. I don't even know it's there.
Well, listen, can you imagine you're coming back from work, you're trying to provide, you love your wife, you're coming home, and these little iblises, they're little iblises, bro. These are the ones who cause marriages to break, yeah? These little shayateen who are coming and, did your wife, did your husband do this? The little shayateen, and you're coming home, you're not even beefing your wife, bro. You're beefing her dumb friends.
I know, and you come home, you want to have some time with your wife, but in the back of your wife's mind, she's thinking about the things her friends have been telling her that aren't even true. So now your marriage will then suffer because of people that don't actually care about your marriage. Your marriage is suffering because of them.
Exactly.
But,
finish.
No, sorry.
No, finish it.
All I wanted to say was, when it comes to your friends, as sister said, take it with a grain of salt. It's not always going to be the best advice. It may be there to, keep you safe. It may be there because they love you, but sometimes it isn't always, take it with a pinch of salt. Here you go, bro.
And the final say for the Sheffield.
So in marriage, typically speaking, women value love, men value respect. And if you are talking behind the man's back,
It's disrespectful.
it's disrespectful. He doesn't like his business being talked to other people and strangers. And then, like the brother said, him coming home and having to deal with that, it's just unnecessary. If you want to solve the matter, speak to the person. There's no point speaking to somebody else because you guys know your relationship better. If that person's not communicating, then that's the issue. Then that's what you need to deal with. Look, you're not communicating with me. Look, this is what we need to deal with. We need to take time out. Then that's the thing. But ultimately speaking behind his back, and if he finds out, I'm telling you, that's going to be the cause of a big row, because he's going to, and you might think, oh, it's something small, I'm just getting someone's opinion. Even, they say, statistically speaking, even when there's a breakup, women tend to speak to their friends and get kind of support of them. Men tend to take short-term solutions by just kind of drowning their sorrows or just doing quick kind of solutions. So women do tend to communicate. So that's the thing. Just kind of, stay around that, especially when you're in the kind of marriage phase, and just understand how important respect is to your man and how this can be seen as disrespectful. That doesn't mean that now you don't do anything at all. Like I've said, I don't want to be misconstrued. But then if communication is the issue, then make that and identify that as an issue, and then that's your starting point.
And it's a matter of trust as well.
Yeah, it's an amana as well to keep whatever's going on between yourselves.
Do you know what's annoying? I thought I'm under pressure so much by what I say in the room and on the camera. My mind ends up going blank because I'm like, I had a really good point. I'm like, but I got to worry. But no, I got the point, luckily, as you interrupted. Right. The point was, 2 points was, number one, I just want to make it clear, especially for the viewers, because I heard Ali mention this earlier. Most of us men don't really get out much. I don't get out and associate with hardly any brothers. So this is why we might have been acting a bit boisterous or childish. So please, there was no weird free mixing or nothing going on. I just want to make that clear. We're just being boys, unfortunately, right? But one really important thing, and I'm not going to go into too much detail because it might seem a bit inappropriate. However, if we actually think about it in practical terms, that sister that went and got married to that brother, and I'm guessing she didn't consummate the marriage right there and then. But when it was time to actually go and do the deed, imagine how she was thinking. I guarantee that advice from her friend was going through her mind when that was meant to be one of the most blessed, sacred, pure times that she was ever meant to experience in her whole life. And then straight away, this little, what you call it a shaitan, I call it a witch. This witch has casted her spell. Not this specific sister, I could never say that. Yeah, just generally, casted her spell and Wingardium Leviosa in her brain, and now she's thinking A, B, and C, D. And the evil eye, evil mind, bad mind, that's that. And then the other thing was, I think the sister here said it, and it's a really good point, but I don't think you stressed it enough, yeah? Where you said, this person might not just represent a friend. This so-called friend here could also be the mother-in-law, the auntie, even your father, even your friend, brother. There are many mother-in-laws that do these types of things. It might even be your own mum, bro. Your own mum. Do you know how many other mums have this crazy, weird obsession over their sons getting married? This is a big issue you need to talk about as well, bro. Did you? Yeah? Yeah, I'll get you on my show. Come on next time when you talk about it. No, but seriously, just remember, like the sister said, it's not always just a friend. It could be anybody giving you these like dangerous seeds of advice that will sprout out and be something very negative, and then you have some negative fruits in your marriage.
Exactly. Wallahi, amazing. May Allah bless you guys. We talked about the problem. We talked about the solutions. We talked about the little iblises who are whispering and causing corruption, literally in family household. We're already under attack left, right, center, LGBTQT. We've got flipping Jeffrey Marshmallows on our case. Yeah. And then we're flipping dealing with little shayateens, little iblisi, whatever you want to call them. Yeah. Iblisiteens there. Given what's what. So may Allah protect us, and hope you guys learned something from the bitter truth today, inshallah. And the whole point of this show is, wallahi, may Allah bless our honorable sisters who are coming here, giving their take on it. Honorable brothers, Zishan, Michael, you're a gem, may Allah bless you, and Shakil. We're going to have you guys more on the show, inshallah. Zishan, no, joking, that. May Allah bless you guys, brothers and sisters, inshallah. The next topic we're going to discuss is going to be secret second wives. Brother Siftash, I think you're on it. Say no more. Okay. I think the wife's going to kill you, but you're going to... Till next time, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever builds a masjid for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will build for him a similar house in Jannah. On that day where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that our books will be given and every little atom weight of good deed you've done will be there. And imagine you see a mountain and you're like, what a lucky person. Which righteous person? And Allah says, this is for you. For me? Yes. What did I do? You allowed people to pray. You built a masjid. I never had the money to build a masjid, oh Allah. You helped, you gave towards it, and Allah gives you the reward of as if you've built it. Donate now, guys, and do not delay. And share the video for extra rewards.